Have you ever been told to just ignore what other people say? It's pretty common advice, right? But what if there's a more powerful way to listen to the world? So today, we're going to dive into a really profound statement from the Buddhist teacher Nichiren that might just change how you hear, well, everything. Okay, so here's the quote. True practitioners of Buddhism should not rely on what people say, but solely on the golden words of the Buddha. Now, at first glance, that sounds pretty absolute, doesn't it? It feels like a very clear instruction. Trust this one source and tune everything else out. So what's really going on here? That's the puzzle we're going to unpack. So let's explore that first, most obvious reading. What if this is just meant to be a dogmatic rule? You know, a command you're supposed to follow, no questions asked. I mean, really think about that for a second. If you took this quote literally, what would that mean for your day-to-day life? How would you interact with your coworkers, your friends, or even just watching the news? It would change everything. This first interpretation suggests a pretty simple, rigid path. You just dogmatically stick to one fixed teaching, in this case, the Buddha's words, and you basically shut out all other voices. It's an approach that definitely prioritizes loyalty to a single text above everything else. But what if that's not the whole story? What if there's a completely different and way more profound way to understand this teaching, one that needs a total shift in our perspective? You know, is the goal really to just build a wall around ourselves with ancient scripture? Or could Nichiren have meant something deeper, something that asks a little more of us than just, plug in our ears? And here's where we see the two paths laid out so clearly. On one hand, you've got the closed-off, rigid rule. But on the other, you have this incredible invitation to see the world as the Buddha does. And this isn't about ignoring people. It's about finding a lesson in everything they say. This alternative interpretation, it changes the entire game. It's not about what you listen to anymore. It's about how you listen. It transforms the whole world from just a source of noise and distraction into a classroom for enlightenment. Every single person, no matter what they're saying, can suddenly become your teacher. So, to really get this, we kind of need to look at the Buddhist view on communication. Speech can come from a place of delusion, from ego, from anger, from selfish desires. Or it can come from a place of wisdom, aiming to help us grow and let go of our attachments. And let's be honest, we hear both kinds of speech every single day. And this right here, this is the heart of it. This is the crucial point. Even when someone is speaking from a place of delusion, maybe from their own selfish wants, we can still find a valuable lesson in there. Their words can teach us what not to do, or even reflect our own attachments right back at us. Okay, so this is a beautiful philosophy, for sure. But how does it actually apply to our busy, modern lives? Let's break it down into a practical framework that you can start using, right now. All right, here's a simple 3-step process. First, listen differently. When someone is talking, just ask yourself, okay, what's the lesson here for me? Second, reframe your interactions. That difficult conversation with your boss, it's not just a conflict anymore. It's a chance to practice patience or see a different perspective. And third, appreciate, don't ignore. The goal is no longer to block people out, but to find something of value in what they offer, even if it's completely unintentional on their part. And the result of this shift is, it's powerful. It takes so much of the friction out of our daily lives. An argument, a piece of gossip, an angry comment, it's no longer just an attack or an annoyance. It becomes raw material for our own personal growth. So I'll leave you with this to carry with you. As you go about your day, in every conversation, in every interaction, just ask yourself, what hidden lesson is waiting for me here? What could you learn if you chose to see the world just for a moment with new eyes?